Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. Within this podcast, we're going to focus on self-improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We'll also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 246 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days in a row, all outside, bearing the elements, whatever they may bring. I also challenged myself to run 1,500 miles within this time frame. Now, this is my second year ever running. Within the first full year of running, at the age of 31, I was able to run 1,002 miles. I did that within 175 days out of the year in 2020. So me going for 1,500 miles this year is over a 50% increase as opposed to the amount of miles I was able to do last year. And me going for 365 days this year is over a 100% increase in amount of days I'll be going for as opposed to the amount of days I ran last year. Not to mention this year, like I said, are all days in a row with no days off in between. If that wasn't enough, also within this time frame, I've challenged myself to run two major races. One of those races being an ultra marathon, a 50K trail race, my first ever 50K trail race. I actually ran that before in an official marathon, which I'll also be running within this year. But my first 50K trail race, I was able to run and finish on June 5th, 2021, day 156 of my journey. I got it finished within 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds. So I'm officially an ultra marathoner. Definitely want to improve on that time, but that race was the Yankee Springs 50K trail race in Middleville, Michigan. Like I said, that was on June 5th. So that was awesome, a really cool experience. Now the next race I have lined up for this year is the Detroit Free Press Marathon that is coming up here in October, just about a month and a half out from that race. So training is in kind of full swing right now, trying to make sure I get enough mileage and all of that stuff. I'll be doing the Motor City Challenge of that race, which entails me running the competitive 1 mile and the competitive 5K the day before the actual race of the marathon. So really looking forward to that. Like I said, that is coming up here within a month and a half. Other than that, let's kind of talk about today, the mileage for the day, where that put us for the week, the month, and the year, and we'll kind of go forward from there. So for the day today, day 246 in a row, I kind of kept it a little bit shorter and sweet on the mileage for the day and just kind of for the pace as well. I've been going a little bit faster than I normally had been, and a little bit more mileage than I had, especially last month. So for the day today, I put in only 3.5 miles for the day. That put me at 28.3 miles for the week. That put me at 14.9 miles for the month. And that put me at 1,128 miles. So 1,128 miles even for the year. Some may notice the weekly mileage is higher than the monthly mileage. That is because the week started on the last 2 days of August. So I was able to put in actually quite a bit of mileage that day. I put in just under 13 miles, I think, in between both days, or maybe even more 13, maybe like 13.2 miles. I think I was able to put in within those 2 days. So that's why the weekly mileage is a little bit more than the monthly mileage, but monthly mileage is still at a great pace for only being 3 days in, 14 miles. That's pretty good. So I'm not going to complain at all about those miles. But let's focus in actually on those miles for the month. Every single month, I challenge myself to a 100-mile challenge, and I do that in honor of a charity in which I donate money to, and I also start a coinciding fundraiser to try to raise money and awareness for that charity. So for the first 8 months of the year, we were able to raise money for 8 great charities. Now we're sitting here within the 9th month, the month of September, and we're raising money for yet again another great charity. And the charity for this month, the 100-mile challenge for September, is in honor of the National Rise Syndrome Foundation. So that is where all the money is going. Rise syndrome is September is Reye Syndrome Awareness Month, so that is why we chose this fundraiser of choice for this month. So if you'd like to donate to this month's fundraiser, you can find the link to do so on the Defining Discipline Instagram or Facebook story, or my personal pages, Instagram or Facebook story. Within those stories, you will find, like I said, the link. You just click on it. It'll open up the page where you're able to make your donations. All donations that get made to this fundraiser go directly to this fundraiser. Facebook is not taking any portion or cut of your donations, even though they are the kind of middleman within this process. So that's why we continue to do it through Facebook, as well as, again, we're trying to raise awareness for this. And I know not everyone is able to donate money, and if that is the case, the next best thing you can do is click that share button and ask other people to share it, so we can get as many eyes on it as possible. So that is the other thing we've been asking, other than just donations. If you guys can, please share this fundraiser. Let's get as many people to see it and raise awareness for this cause here throughout this month of September. Other than that, we can kind of talk about quickly the word of the day. We've been doing a word of the day. So for today's word of the day, September 3rd, is gasconade. Gasconade is confident talk or behavior that is intended to impress other people. Gasconade. That is today's word of the day. Just like all the other words of the day, we're going to screenshot that because that's a pretty good word of the day. We like it. These word of the days have been pretty good for these last few weeks. I cannot complain at how good they have been. Like I said, I've been screenshotting and saving them, so that tells you something, or tells me something. So anyways, let's get into today's episode. Whew, get a little tired here. It is late. Super late. But that's not going to stop us from today's episode. Episode 246. So, today's episode 246. Today's theme for today's episode is going to be perception. And we're going to talk about perception today because how you perceive things will dictate how I truly believe how you perceive things will dictate how things in return will turn out. And this is an experiment that I've been going through over these past 2 years, when I've started to try to really turn my life around. Just my attitude and the way I was perceiving things, and my perception on life in general, as I try to start changing it and implementing change within my life. My perception started to change, and things started to work out a little bit better. And it's truly, it seems like, hey, how can this be? It doesn't seem real. But the thoughts and the ideas and your outlook on life really, really dictates how life may turn out for you. And, for the longest time, I lived more of an entitled life, where I believed everything should be given to me and I deserve everything and I have rights. And there's nothing wrong with, having rights and all that. I get that. But it wasn't until I changed my perception on life as I don't deserve any of this. I need to go out there and earn everything. I need to go out there and really put myself to the test, because the only person I am cheating, when you cheat on a test, or when you try to take the shortcut, the only person you're hurting is yourself, because you're not learning, you're not getting better, you're not adapting, you're not you're not doing the right change within your life. And I just felt very stagnant and very like I was falling behind. And I feel like a lot of it had to do with my perception on life and what I was entitled to and what I should deserve. And it was just a long story that we don't have to go into. It was just the idea that really changing my perception on life and my perception on Maybe I don't know everything that's good for me. Maybe I should take advice of others. Maybe I should look up to certain people who I would like to kind of live life like, or people who I set on a higher pedestal, and someone who has, I feel like, has standards that I think I should live by. And it wasn't until I really started pushing myself towards that and trying to figure out who I am personally and who I can be, and really changing my own personal perspective on myself and my perception on myself and who I could be. And it wasn't until I started really doing that, and when I started really doing that is when I started to really see these drastic changes within my life, and things started to falling, more and more in place. And you know, it's still a roller coaster. There's still ups and downs like life will always throw at you. Don't get me wrong, but having a different perception on life in general has truly, over these past 2 years, have helped me tremendously. And um, like I said, there's times when it gets tough and it gets hard, and I still get upset and things seem like everything's falling apart. But I always come out of it, I feel, with um, something good to take away from it, something I have learned from those situations. And that is also something that I've really think deals with perception, because when things start falling apart, you can um, let it spiral continuously out of control, or you can change your perception on when things start falling apart, and look at it as, well, at least I'm learning from this, or this is something I don't want to do again, and really try to take advantage of the fact that bad things are happening to you, and change your perception on them as well. That these bad things that are happening, yeah, they may happen again, but they're not going to affect you the way they're affecting you now, or maybe you'll never let them happen again. Um, Either way, there's a way of going about um, when tragedy starts to hit, and things start to really upset you, and things start to get overwhelming, or whatever the case may be. Your perception on reality and your perception on life at those points really will dictate how things will turn out. So, really, today's episode is about just trying to have a better perception on your reality and yourself, and try to have a positive perception on life. Even though you know it's going to be hard, it's going to be suffering, it's going to be, um, a day to day battle of trying to keep your head on straight. But the more you have a better perception and a better outlook, the more positive return you will get from that. So that's pretty much all what today's episode is about. So if you guys can, please give the podcast a like, a subscribe, a follow, and a share on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and whatever podcast streaming platform you've been listening and following along on. Other than that, guys, I'm going to leave you with your daily discipline. And your daily discipline for today, day 246, September 3rd, episode 246, it is perception. And it is to really think about the perception you have on life, and what it has given you so far by having that perception. Maybe it's time to really change your perception and your outlook, and really try to start looking towards a better way of life and a better way of living. And if that is the case, what must you perceive in your mind, and what kind of ideals must you live by in order to get to that point? That is your daily discipline for the day today, day 246. Other than that, thank you so much for following along and listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 247. Got some things in the works, so really excited about that. But other than that, we're just going to try to get through these next few weeks here, and get things kicked off. All right, thank you guys so much. I will see you tomorrow for episode 247. Again, I'm your host, Scott. This is the Defining Discipline Podcast. And until tomorrow, guys, peace out.